Did Blake Lively have Armie Hammer fired from Gossip?
Take all of my passes back and use them all right.
Really? You were on Gossip Girl for 4 episodes.
I was, yeah.
Did she fire you? Did you get fired? What happened? Why did you leave after 4? You're so handsome.
Listen,
you were like,
dude, listen.
You played a douchebag millionaire.
Here's my official take on the whole thing that's going on, is that there is another fight going on that I'm not involved in, and I have not been dragged into, and I'm perfectly happy with that.
Right.
I've got enough of my own problems before throwing my hat into someone else's ring. Let me just say, that was a tough show to film, and I didn't end up actually filming all of the episodes I was supposed to because it was such a tough film.
Really? Literally, you said, get me out of this.
It was also like, get him out of here.
Hollywood's golden girl, Blake Lively, has been thrust into the center of a shocking scandal that no one could have predicted. In a jaw-dropping moment on live television, disgraced actor Armie Hammer unleashed a fiery tirade against her, making explosive allegations that immediately set social media ablaze. This wasn't just another celebrity spat. It was a dramatic and public reckoning that could reshape Blake Lively's carefully cultivated image. But what led to this sudden attack? And why would Armie Hammer, whose own reputation is already in ruins, choose now to go after her?
Light blue, powder blue sweater, and you're having some Chardonnay.
I was actually in acting class with Justin Baldoni when I was 19 years old.
Really?
20 years old. Yeah, I mean, this is almost 20 years ago now.
Did you hang out in between scenes? Did you work lines together?
Yeah, yeah, we did like some scenes together, I'm sure. Yeah, he seemed like a great guy. I mean, I didn't really know him that well.
He was nice.
Listen, bro, you're not dragging me into this. I'm not getting involved.
No?
That drama is their drama.
Sure?
I want nothing to do with it.
Are you sure, Hammer?
Oh, I don't want that smoke at all.
No? But you got a kissing scene with her. Was she a good kisser? You can say that.
I don't even remember, dude. I don't even remember.
You don't?
I wouldn't say if I did. I'm not getting involved. This is not my fight.
Hammer. We got a whole. The Greek chorus in here. They don't believe it.
I have had enough trial by media fire in my life.
Once hailed as Hollywood royalty, Armie Hammer rose to fame with standout roles in acclaimed films like Call Me by Your Name and The Social Network, seemingly destined for A-list status. But his promising career came to a crashing halt when deeply troubling allegations about his personal life emerged, transforming him into one of the industry's most controversial figures. Since then, Hammer has remained largely out of the public eye, surfacing only occasionally and never directly, confronting the accusations that derailed his rise.
About the time that I met one Mr. Armie Hammer. It was in 2023 via my best friend, mutuals, and he introduced me because he knew what a Gossip Girl fan I was. Obviously, Armie was in season 2 of Gossip Girl. He played Gabriel, if you remember. So I walked into the house, and there he is sitting. I was aghast, because not only is he so stunningly beautiful in person, he was so warm and welcoming, and he looked at, you know those people that just look at you and like, there's a bunch of people in the room, but you're the only person that exists, like they go directly to you. He's like that. He makes you feel like you're the only person who exists in the room. Gave me the time of day, was so warm, was so kind. I didn't bring up Gossip Girl because I was so like gaga, but he's just like a human being, a normal human being. Now, I'm not here to talk about the allegations of what went down with all those girlies, etc. I'm here to talk about what went down between Blake Lively and him on Gossip Girl, because he just said in that clip by Watch What Happens Live with Andy and Chelsea that Blake Lively got him fired. And I am so not here for people using their power and clout on a set to get another human being fired from a job, unless you commit some type of egregious crime. And for what it sounds like, Armie didn't. He, via the rumblings and the blinds, just said Blake Lively's not a nice person, which now we know is true. I say all this to say, hi Armie, and second of all, justice. He must be sitting back somewhere, if he even cares anymore. I'm sure he's so far moved on from.
That is, until now. During what was meant to be a routine industry roundtable interview, the conversation turned to past co-stars. When the interviewer casually brought up Blake Lively, likely anticipating a fond or playful comment, everything shifted. Armie's expression darkened. He leaned in with a cold smirk and, in a chillingly calm tone, said, "Let's talk about Blake Lively, America's favorite hypocrite." The room went dead silent. No one was prepared for what followed.
Blake Lively have Armie Hammer fired from Gossip Girl? So Armie Hammer played Gabriel Edwards, who was Serena, Blake Lively's character, her love interest on Gossip Girl. Well, Armie Hammer was abruptly removed from the series after only completing 4 episodes in season 2. and he addresses this very briefly on an appearance on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live. Let's watch.
On Gossip Girl, who was the biggest diva on set?
Biggest diva on set of Gossip Girl.
You can say it because it's so far away from where you are now. That show's over. I suggest that you do not pass on another question.
Thank you, Chelsea.
I wish I could take all of my passes back and use them all right now. Yeah. Let me just say, that was a tough show to film, and I didn't end up actually filming all of the episodes I was supposed to because it was such a tough film.
Really? Literally, you said, get me out of this.
It was also like, get him out of here. Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah.
So it just literally was that. Whose love interest were you?
I was Blake Lively's love interest.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay, well
Sounds
then.
like she was the problem.
It sure does, Chelsea.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Don't put words into his mouth.
Yeah. Because my foot is already there.
No, it is not.
Armie Hammer didn't hold back. His accusations against Blake Lively were not only shocking, they were intensely personal. He alleged that Blake had been instrumental in orchestrating his downfall, claiming she used her behind-the-scenes influence to get him blacklisted. According to Hammer, Blake had long been aware of the allegations that would eventually surface. But instead of coming forward, she allegedly weaponized that knowledge for her own benefit, protecting her own image while quietly stoking the industry backlash that destroyed his career.
While Armie Hammer doesn't directly confirm that Blake Lively had him fired, it was rumored that he called Lively a B word on the set, which ultimately ended up with him getting nixed. And this all comes from some messages that were posted to Dumois back in 2021 when Armie Hammer was at the height of his scandal. Oh no, what do you think? Did she get Armie Hammer fired? He only delivered on 4 episodes. He was supposed to do more. He seems very touchy about why this all went.
He didn't stop there. Hammer went on to dismantle Blake Lively's carefully crafted image, claiming she is nothing like the wholesome, girl-next-door persona she projects. Instead, he described her as a calculating and ruthless power player. In Hollywood, someone who meticulously curates her public image while quietly removing anyone who poses a threat to her rise. One of the most jaw-dropping moments came when Hammer insinuated that Blake had even leveraged her marriage to Ryan Reynolds to influence industry narratives, allegedly ensuring that those who crossed her found themselves quietly iced out of major opportunities. The reaction was immediate. Clips of the interview went viral within minutes, lighting up every major social media platform. Hollywood quickly became divided. On one side, a wave of shock and skepticism. On the other, a trickle of support for Hammer's claims. A few former co-stars and crew members began to speak out, some anonymously. One former Gossip Girl crew member described Blake as a master manipulator who was laser-focused on preserving her pristine image, no matter the cost.
Watching Blake and Ryan and their reputations really taking a hit because of alleged behavior executed by these two, you know, the piper needs to be paid, as they say. By the way, just came out today via Variety. Just Modality demands Disney and Marvel preserve all documents relating to Ryan Reynolds and Nice Pool. We saw the Nice Pool clip where Ryan Reynolds seemingly is definitely, allegedly, but definitely mocking Justin Modality, which is horrible.
Meanwhile, Blake Lively's inner circle quickly came to her defense. Actress Anna Kendrick was one of the first to speak out, taking to social media to denounce Armie Hammer's claims. She called the allegations baseless and described the outburst as a clear act of desperation from someone looking to deflect attention from his own past. Kendrick emphasized Blake's integrity, urging fans not to be swayed by sensationalism and unverified accusations.
Lively and Anna Kendrick hit the red carpet of their new movie Another Simple Favor at South by Southwest, and Anna Kendrick is going viral for her reactions when asked what it was like working with Blake again and how Blake's drama has impacted this movie.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
Talking about you. How does it feel like the movie's being impacted kind of by everything happening around going on in the world?
Why, what happened? I did ayahuasca and the last year of my life is just gone, but I've heard the movie's amazing.
Reports soon emerged that Ryan Reynolds was furious behind the scenes, allegedly confronting industry executives in defense of his wife. But perhaps the most striking response came from Blake Lively herself. Silence. She issued no statement, made no public comment, and didn't acknowledge the allegations at all. And in Hollywood, silence can speak volumes. This silence took on an even darker tone when viewed against the backdrop of Armie Hammer's own fall from grace. Once a rising star, his career imploded in early 2021 after deeply disturbing allegations surfaced. Multiple women came forward with accounts of abuse, manipulation, and messages detailing violent, cannibalistic fantasies. Among them was ex-girlfriend, Courtney Vucekovich, who publicly shared the trauma she experienced, claiming Hammer spoke of wanting to eat parts of her body and dominate her completely, revealing a chilling pattern of psychological and physical control.
To come over to your house with my bag of goodies, completely incapacitating you until I was done with you.
I am here to talk about what happened in my relationship with Armie Hammer. Not only is he an actor, he was gorgeous and tall, and I was starting to fall for him. But something didn't feel right.
Once the sexual nature of the DM started, it was all that he wanted to ever talk about.
Then he mentions the ropes. It's like the ropes were around your neck, your wrists, your ankles, behind your back. I had bruises. I hated it. Can we take a break?
But where does Blake Lively fit into all of this? If we rewind to the years before Armie Hammer's scandal erupted, whispers from Hollywood insiders suggest that Blake had long harbored suspicions about him. Though the two never starred together, their social circles often overlapped, and according to some sources, Blake had quietly begun distancing herself from Hammer well before the public revelations. Was she an early voice warning others about his disturbing behavior? And more provocatively, did she play a role in making sure his darkest secrets were eventually exposed?
Is not innocent in any of this without question. I really do think she's just a spoiled brat. Like, it just goes down to something that simple. She's a spoiled brat, and she's used to getting what she wants from a time that she was a kid. And this is what she wanted. And I do think that people have not pieced together, and I've been speaking about it, the Scarlett Johansson piece of this is also something. She's the one that walked away from Ryan. He has control issues, and she was working with Wayfarer on her directorial debut at this time that this movie was being shot. And lo and behold, what is Blake trying to do? She's trying to make Ryan scramble to get her directorial rights over this movie. Like they're in this weird competition. Yeah. Another piece of this, Scarlett Johansson was also shooting a movie with Channing Tatum. Out of nowhere, Ryan plucks Channing Tatum up out of obscurity and puts him in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, premiering as Gambit. And he did this whole thing thanking him. So there is a Scarlett Johansson element. There is a competitive element. And I do believe that Blake Lively put pressure on him because she's not that smart. She's not a brilliant actress, and she's not a Scarlett Johansson. And I think that, she suffers from that insecurity of wanting to feel like she belongs in the A-list club that Taylor Swift is in, and that her husband kind of isn't really in, but they now have a lot of A-list.
If the rumors about Blake's behind-the-scenes influence hold any truth, it's not hard to imagine that Armie Hammer had been quietly harboring resentment toward her for years. After all, Hollywood is no stranger to power plays and long-simmering grudges. Some speculate his animosity could trace back to the infamous 2010 Gossip Girl crossover fiasco. But whatever the origin, it may have evolved into something far more personal. If Blake did play a role in exposing his darkest secrets, then his public attack might be less about truth and more about revenge, a desperate attempt to strike back at someone he believes helped orchestrate his downfall.
He's a big movie star. I'm not naive enough to think that I'm the only one.
I knew something about him would come up in the future because I know how careless he is.
He said things like he wanted to barbecue and eat her. And then this story blew wide open.
Hammer name wielded a lot of prestige and power, but beneath it all was a dark world of deceit, betrayal, and corruption.
Very wealthy, privileged men got away with different bad things throughout these generations.
And it's what happened to Armie Hammer to a sick degree.
You just don't wake up and become this abuser. There has to be a seed that's planted. My name is Casey Hammer, and I'm about to reveal the dark, twisted...
Yet there's a darker, more unsettling possibility to consider. What if Armie Hammer's outburst isn't just driven by bitterness, but by a calculated attempt to expose Hollywood's long-standing hypocrisy? Many have noted the industry's tendency to overlook predatory behavior until it becomes impossible to ignore. In targeting Blake Lively, could Hammer be hinting at something bigger? Is he suggesting that she, and perhaps others like her, have their own buried secrets, still, hidden behind carefully maintained public images?
Hammer's a really good guy. He's charming, he's nice, he's always been that way. Up or down. Hello, Hammer.
Don't tell anybody. I have a new reputation to protect here.
What is it?
Cannibal-ist. Like, we're just going for it, dude.
Whoa! What does it feel like to say that, by the way?
It's funny for me now, in the sense that, like, look, are there things that probably could have stuck that didn't? Sure. But the thing that stuck is this very weird, bizarre thing, but it's also incredibly liberating.
Armie Hammer's claims are undeniably explosive, but do they hold any truth? On one hand, his specific allegations, combined with a quietly growing number of industry figures who seem to lend credence to his statements, suggest that Blake Lively's carefully crafted public image may hide more than it appears. However, Hammer himself faces a major credibility issue, given his own tarnished reputation. Many are wondering if this is simply a desperate bid to regain relevance by taking down a beloved star.
This is a win for Lively for sure. He did create an attorney's eyes only category to add to the model protective order, which is what she wanted. He narrowed down what fits into it. So he added the word highly and the word significant. So instead of just being able to designate something AEO because it is likely to cause competitive business injury or personal injury, it now has to be highly likely to cause significant business or personal injury. So it raises the level a little bit, but they can still designate whatever they want. He also left the burden on the people trying to lift the designation on the people who don't want it. So Friedman's burden shifting argument did not work.
Blake Lively has largely upheld a squeaky clean public image, known for her witty social media posts, fashion-forward style, and seemingly perfect marriage to Ryan Reynolds. She's stayed clear of major Hollywood scandals. However, Hollywood is no stranger to meticulously curated facades. If there's any truth to Armie Hammer's allegations, Blake's silence might not be about staying above the drama. It could be a strategic move for damage control.
Armie Hammer didn't eat any people, but he did eat the heart of an animal. So he's on the Louis Theroux podcast, and basically Louis interviewing him and is like, hey, let's just go through all the things you've been accused of.
Are you a cannibal? You know what you have to do to actually be a cannibal? You have to actually eat human flesh.
Correct. Did you cut the heart out of the animal and eat it while still warm?
No, you don't eat the whole heart.
You didn't.
One of the
do
traditions is you take a bite out of the heart. It's sort of like a almost overly charged male rite of passage when you go hunting for your first time.
It's not weird when you think about it, though. What do you mean it's not weird? We eat animal flesh every day. An animal that's warm and you're eating its heart?
You're not going to eat it when it's cold.
So you did that?
Yeah. Not for the purpose of any cannibalism or any sexual gratification.
I get it's a hunting tradition, but if you're Armie Hammer, stop talking about this stuff, man. He's not a cannibal. It's just gross to do that.
People think it's gross how much oil you put on in the morning and no one's judging you.
Oh, Moroccan. I swim. So what does you swimming have to do with it? Because it dries your skin.
The fallout from this scandal is far from over. If more people come forward to support Armie Hammer's claims, Blake Lively's reputation could take a significant hit. While she may not face the same level of industry exile as Hammer, her once flawless image might never fully recover. However, if his allegations are proven to be false, it could spell the final chapter of his already tarnished career. One thing is certain: Hollywood thrives on scandal, but it thrives even more on comebacks. Whether this moment becomes a reckoning for Blake Lively or a desperate bid for relevance from Armie Hammer, only time will reveal. But one undeniable truth stands: the entertainment industry is built on illusions, and sometimes those illusions shatter in the most unexpected ways. Stay tuned, because this Hollywood story is far from finished.